Mr. Who's the Boss? Mr. Who's the Boss? I don't know what is like. I'm guessing that's how you say the name because there's no spaces, there's no dot, there's no nothing. It's just Mr. Who's the Boss. His video, I investigated India's biggest smartphone controversy, and I do not know what that is. I really do not know what that is, but heck, it sounds interesting. I mean, everyone likes themselves a smartphone.
I might get sued for this, but imagine you made a YouTube video about a phone. You get it out of the box, you test it, but you feel like something's off. So you tell your viewers, but then you receive a court order. You're legally forced to take your video down. You're banned from ever saying anything negative about that phone again, and so is everyone else. And suddenly it all erupts into what can only be described as a war within the tech community. That'd be crazy, right? This is one of the most fascinating, alarming situations that I've ever seen on my 15 years making YouTube videos. And it's also currently a very real, active legal case. So the YouTubers involved are not allowed to comment. But I will. I've got the products, I've got the receipts, I've consulted the experts and people at the very heart of the situation, and if anyone wants to sue me, I'd love to see them try. Quick context. India is the second biggest smartphone market on Earth, with over 700 million users. But at least 2/3 of the phones sold there, from brands like Xiaomi and Vivo and Oppo, are Chinese, which has created this massive opportunity for someone to come in and make a phone in India. Partly for the same reason that Brits love their Made in Britain logo, and Americans like to buy American. It would help.
Yeah, just their beans, made in Britain, made in the USA, only because it's rare. Like, there is a new thing where it's not made, assembled in the USA. So it's literally an IKEA thing that they purchased from China. It got mailed to the US, and the US is paying retards to put together the IKEA furniture just so they can put a stamp on it that says assembled in the USA. It is so stupid. I have a few things like that. Like, they're very nice products, but then you look at it and it says assembled in the USA. I'm just like, it must be fun to work at a Lego factory. Oh, nobody buy Tesla? Nobody buy Tesla or nobody buy Tesla? Are you telling me to buy Tesla or are you saying nobody buys Tesla? Because Tesla's actually starting to get more and more and more. People are getting more and more invested into it. People are getting more and more invested into it here in the US. Yeah, the way you're saying it, I'm either putting a period before nobody buy Tesla or nobody buy Tesla.
Like to buy American. It would help Indians to support the economy of the country they live in, but also compounded by the fact that India and China don't have the best relationship. Long story short, lots of border clashes and a lack of trust. So over the years, a bunch of companies have tried. You've had Carbon, you've had Micromax, you've had Lava, all leaning into this national pride, plastering their marketing campaigns with this promise of made in India, but they've all failed to capture any kind of meaningful market share. Because ultimately, while their products might be assembled in India, they're still designed in China. And if you're going to buy a designed in China phone, then you might as well just buy it direct from a Chinese company.
Yep, it's just an assembled in India. That's literally what the stamp should say. Assembled in India. Yeah, have the Indian pride. U.S. can put their sweatshops in Latin America for cheaper labor. Yeah. I mean, for a while they had a bunch of like sweatshops in India, like a Nike. Look at Nike. They were under the controversy of their clothing company being in other nations having child laborers. But the thing is, Nike was taking advantage of that nation's laws. And children were allowed to work. So they're not going to follow American rules there. They're going to follow the nation's rules, and it's cheaper to hire a kid than it is an adult. So they're going to hire kids. That's just how it works. That's just how it operates. So that's why a lot of manufacturing left the US, because it was too expensive to manufacture here. It's much cheaper to have all the products that are made in another country for the United States shipped here than it is to actually make them here.
Like Xiaomi and get it even cheaper. Which sets the stage for July 2025, when a new brand called AI Plus launches with the pitch of delivering India's first fully sovereign smartphone.
Expertly engineered and meticulously built in India.
And they went one step further than the rest to say that it even
prioritizes your privacy and stores your data in India.
So any of your data that has to go online, they're saying will be securely stored
in Google Cloud India regions.
This built-in India strategy is absolutely central to the entire case. So it's important to stress just how much they leaned into it. Like how it literally spells out on the boot screen of my AI Plus phone here, your data stays safe in India. Or how they said their phones are so secure that they are, and I quote, certified for government. All amplified exemplified by the CEO firing shots at other companies for not holding themselves to the same standards. Referring to other Indian brands, he said, "Made in India means little if software and updates come from abroad." And then referring to the abundance of Chinese phones, this foreign dominance raises critical concerns about data privacy. And if AI Plus hadn't already made their stance extremely clear, then nothing summarizes it better than what I can only describe as their comic book strip of an advert. It starts with this poor Indian man who's woken up to find that someone's taken a large loan in his name without his consent. Oh, right. Yeah.
He's getting scammed by China.
It's this Chinese guy.
Chinese not safe. AI Plus smartphone.
I think I've read fortune cookies with more nuance. But you get the point.
Some fortune cookies with more nuance. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, the second you see it, you know what it's saying. It's very on the nose. It's very on the nose. But the thing is, you need that in a trailer. It has to be entertaining or else nobody cares.
So you might be wondering, who is this AI Plus CEO? This
He keeps
Indian hero
changing
who's
his
about to
clothes.
show the Chinese who's boss. Madhav Sheth, a man with a very coloured history of making phones. He was a sales director for Oppo in India. He then co-founded and became CEO of Realme. He ran that company for 5 years, and by the time he left in 2023, it was the 4th biggest smartphone brand in the country. Then he went off to lead Honor in India, hopped over to Alcatel to do the same, until finally deciding to build his own phones with AI Plus. So 2 things jump out to me. One, that with work experience like that, I can't think of a single person more qualified to start their own tech company. Then second is, for someone who's seemingly so vehemently against China, he sure has spent a lot of his career working for Chinese companies.
Chinese not safe.
Now, to be fair, gotta hand the Madhav guy his flowers. The prices of the products that he's launched, they seem really reasonable. Amongst other products, there were 2 phones. The Pulse, their 4G phone starting at 4,499 rupees, and then the Nova, their 5G phone, starting at 7,499. Right now, that's equivalent to $47 and $79 US. So like, how wrong can this go?
Honestly, it sounds like that. It sounds like you went to China and bought a phone there. It's cheaper. It's cheaper.
Well, the first crack appeared when YouTuber Gyan Therapy got his hands on the phone and posted a video. He highlighted that this supposedly brand new built-in India software, which the brand calls Next Quantum OS, does seem to look awfully similar to Realme's operating system, which is definitely not built in India. It doesn't prove anything, but it does make me wonder, if you were actually building a new Android skin from scratch for this brand new company you started, why would you not make it look different to what's out there? Especially when what's out there is the company that you used to run and are now competing against. And then, Gyan Therapy found 3 apps on the phone: Clean Assistant, Phone Clone, and Mobile Butler, which, by the way, I also have on my phone. Clean Assistant, Phone Clone, and my Mobile Butler is called Phone Manager, presumably because it's been updated since. These apps came pre-installed, you can't disable them or uninstall them, and he asks, how could they keep your data in India if they are actually Chinese apps? Why would he say that? Well, because when you pop into the privacy policy of Phone Clone, who else but a China-based company, Sprocom Technologies, who's very clearly spelled out as the service provider. I screen grabbed the entire policy and made it public, in case you fancy a very long read. But the point is, you don't have to scroll very far for it to raise some eyebrows. We may collect your personal information by 1, information you provide directly to us; 2, information we obtain automatically during your use of this application; and 3, information we obtain from other sources. And then for the other 2 apps, there isn't a privacy policy, but we managed to extract the app files, ping them off to a very smart Android researcher who's chosen to remain anonymous, and this is what he said. All these 3 apps are built in China, for sure. They just changed the package name to make it look like they are built from scratch as part of Next Quantum OS, followed by all the screenshots proving this fact. Now, does this mean that your data is going to be sold to the highest bidder and the Chinese triad are about to knock on your door and ransom you to get it back?
No.
Probably not. Most apps collect data, but the point is,
They collect. The reason why most things collect data, like you could be talking about something, you could be planning on buying something, and then you start getting ads for that stuff. Like for me, if I open my my news on on Google, I get like notifications on One Piece. I get like what's happening right now on like the streaming world. I get like what's going on in the news, who's getting elected, like where the polls are right now. That's the news I get. Why? Because it's constantly listening. It's always it's wanting to push you to be on it as long as possible. It's freaking ridiculous. Freaking ridiculous. Of course, I don't really care about that. I enjoy what I do. I enjoy what I do. I don't need to spend time on my phone. But a lot of people easily fall victim to that. Like me and my wife were at the store, and when we get back, she looked at her phone and was like, look at this. Look, it's showing me this. It's showing me this because it was something we were talking about beforehand. I'm like, yep, it's always listening. It's always listening. AI Plus cannot fight with the man who scored last-minute penalty in Wembley. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that means. Samsung, Apple is on top for consumption by Indian people. Samsung and Apple. Yeah. Samsung, Apple. Yeah. I like myself an Android phone. I hate Apple. But But yeah.
And this app guarantee that not a shred of your data leaves India, which is what's being promised in no uncertain terms here. Well, that feels less certain. Now, I'm going to be confronting Madhav himself about these apps. But for now, what you need to know is that for saying what he said, Gyan Therapy received a legal notice from the AI Plus company, and his video has been geolocked, meaning that I can still watch it here in the UK, but if we VPN over to India, you can see that you straight up can't there. This is already pretty unheard of for a tech review. But this isn't the shocking part. I was curious about this whole Sprocom thing. I never heard of the company, but I also couldn't help but feel like they were part of the bigger picture here. So I had a browse, and I don't think I've ever seen a load of nonsense quite like it. There's pages and pages of stuff like Connect with Mind. Connect with Mind, again. I've never read a more generic sounding company profile, and their company culture, Connect with Mind. Well, of course. And then their corporate mission is supposedly connected, intelligental. So what on earth could this China-based company that can't even spell intelligence have to do with our made in India smartphone that literally has intelligence in its name? I was about to quit, but then I stumbled into this page. Oh, Sprocom do make phones. And while this is not exactly this, it's pretty hard to ignore the similarities. How aligned the camera module and the camera positioning is. How from the side and the bottom, these two feel like a mirror image. Not to mention how almost every spec, including the display, looks identical. So here's what you need to understand. There are two ways to get a tech product made. You can either ideate it, design it, and own all the rights to it yourself, like Apple, for example, who then just hands over the brief to a contract manufacturer to do the building for them, to Apple's exact spec. But the other option is to go to an ODM, or Original Design Manufacturer. This is a company who builds the products, but has also done the designing, the ideation, and often owns the rights to their designs too. And so all you do as a customer is request slight variations, get your logo added to it, and brand it as your own. And so Sprocom, according to an official business report, is a Chinese ODM, which, is not in itself unusual, but it does cast even more doubt on just how much of the imagining and building that AI Plus is actually doing themselves. To give you an idea, within just half an hour of digging, I managed to find 4 other supposed clients of this Sprocom company, and all of their phones look remarkably similar to ones on Sprocom's site. So when you look at this, how much does it look like Sprocom's clients are really researching and developing themselves? And how much does it look like they're largely just taking what Sprocom gave them?
Well, that explains why the phones are so cheap. That explains it, because they're mass produced. Just a few, there are already factories mass printing them, and you just have to change things here and there.
And I've come to learn something else about Sprocom through a conversation with someone who's, let's just say, very high up and very involved in the Indian supply chain.
Basically, you have different tiers of ODMs. So up there, you have ODMs in the likes of Longcheer. They work with brands like Oppo, Vivo, Samsung. Then you also have good ODMs. They work with brands like Nothing or Moto.
Yeah.
And then you have low-tier ODMs. And those ODMs are known for making very, very cheap products. This includes ODMs like Sprocom. There is no R&D involved. The product exists. What you do is just you customize slightly the back of the phone so that it looks a bit different. They cut a lot of corners. The way they make things very cost efficient is having a very cheap supply chain. They use a lot of second-hand components. The biggest opportunity is when it comes to the memory chips. For reference, for 64GB memory, you'll probably get around as low as $20 versus $60 if you are buying it new.
So people are buying a new product, but actually the memory chips inside are from used products.
Exactly.
Given that in India specifically, there are tons of phones in that lower price bracket, would you say that's probably the case with most of them?
No, that's the thing. If you look this year, whether it's like Oppo, Vivo, they haven't been launching any phones in that price point. Those players are the ones kind of working with the tier 1 ODMs I mentioned, because they don't do this type of more dirty work.
So my takeaway from this is there's actually 2 layers of dubiousness. On top of AI Plus's already debatable claims about how Indian their products are, according to this insider, by buying a phone sourced from Sprocom, you're also, ironically, getting a lower quality product than the Chinese companies that AI Plus is trying so hard to separate themselves from. But if everything we've seen so far has felt sus, then AI Plus's Wave 2 is where this situation just explodes. Because now we move into this year, 2026, where AI Plus launches their second set of products, one of them being the Pulse 2. That's actually the one I'm holding here. And this time, clearly the YouTubers are ready, because one of them, TechWiser, drops a video titled, "This Indian Phone is a Marketing Disaster." Now this video got taken down completely. It's part of the evidence being used in the court case. I'm getting to that. But he accused the company of a few things. One of them being how it's just a bit strange that the CEO has gone on the record to brag about the lack of bloatware.
First and foremost, no bloatwares.
The bloatware still exists. It existed on his phone. It exists on my phone. It's hidden from the app drawer, so you can only tell when you open up this game space hub. But this absolutely counts as bloatware by my definition. It's preloaded, the games are spammy and ad-filled. Many people will not want them, and yet they are still taking up storage space. Again, Madhav has his own defense for this, but we're getting to him. More concerningly than bloatware though, TechWiser's other claim is that, the Chinese apps that were present on the first AI Plus phones that caused the entire scandal? Well, he said that all of those apps were actually still on the new phone. 2 of them had now been hidden, but just by plugging into a laptop and entering a quick command, he could reveal them again. And then he finished off this video by recapping all the companies that Madhav's worked at, explaining that each one has deserted customers in some way, and concludes that the biggest reason to not trust this phone, or trust this entire company, is the founder, Madhav Sheth. 5 days after that, a second bombshell drops, this time from another channel, Tech Bar, and he goes even harder, because as well as the AI Plus Pulse 2, one of the other new products launched was the Nova Flip. And Tech Bar says that this phone is exactly the same phone as the Chinese ZTE Nubia Flip 2. He says they have the same battery, processor, but the camera seems the same as the ZTE, and I can see why he'd say that. He didn't actually have the phone in hand when shooting his video But I do. And in fact, I can tell you this is a ZTE phone. I can see all sorts of apps and sensors with clearly labeled ZTE identifiers. And here's the thing, if anyone were to argue that maybe the links to China are fairly minor, surface level, on the Pulse phones, I don't think that can be argued for the Flip, the Compass app, ZTE, the AI engine, ZTE, the fingerprint service, ZTE, and we should probably at this point just register the 20 to 30 and sometimes more permissions given to these services. Anyway, TechBar then goes on to say, if you think it took me a lot of effort to find this flip phone example...
Not a Nokia. I like Red Magic, but it's China's too. I've heard of Red Magic. I mean, sometimes they look interesting, but for me, I have a Google Pixel. I utilize a Google Pixel. That's what I use. Ever since I had one, I was like, I love this phone. I love this phone. So I use a Google Pixel. Is it great? I like it. I like it. Its camera's good. Its quality's good. It's very fast. I've dropped it a few times, and finally, it has a hiccup, but that's because I didn't have a screen on it when I dropped it, and yeah, I got a line in the center because I dropped it.
It's not like that. He says, look into any of their products and you'll find a Chinese copy. And credit where credit's due, I too found one in about 3 minutes of sleuthing. Their website has a download section here. So that takes you to, I guess, the support page. Need help setting up your device? Well, screw you, because that button doesn't work. Good start. In fact, the one link on this page that actually does work is a link to the app for the kids' watch that they sell. You click download, Lee Fine Technology. Lee Fine Technology. Doesn't sound Indian. So let's search that up. Oh, would you look at that? Based in Shenzhen. And it's not just a software thing. Yet again, the hardware on the Leafine website looks identical to the hardware that AI Plus is selling. So very likely another ODM to add to the list. But then the most curious example that TechBar gives is the Wearbuds that AI Plus also launched. This watch that contains earphones inside of it, which Madhav said at the launch event were also.
This is the design which we have designed in India, patented in India.
TechBar claims this product too is in fact clearly just this product made by a Chinese company, AI Power. What on earth is happening here? And this is super weird. If you go onto the official verified Instagram page of this Chinese AI Power company, they actually posted about the AI Plus launch event with the caption, Wearbuds watch, great cooperation with AI Plus brand. If this product was designed entirely in India, why would a Chinese brand, and yes, I know they're a Chinese brand because I asked them and they told me, say great cooperation. And while we're at it, doesn't this AI Power logo look a little familiar? As a matter of fact, I've actually cut out the AI Plus logo here, and you can watch me live as I show you that you can place the AI from AI Plus exactly on top of the AI in AI Power. Does that strike you as two companies who have nothing to do with each other? How many Chinese partners can this one anti-Chinese company have? 14 days later, both of these videos disappeared from the internet. The Delhi High Court in India granted AI Plus an ex parte injunction against the YouTubers, which means that without hearing them first, TechWiser and TechBar were now restrained from publishing disparaging content about AI Plus, or Madhav Sheth. And there's one more wrinkle. A third person was named, John Doe. This is the court's way of also saying unnamed future critic, which means it's the two YouTubers, but also anyone else that is banned from and could be charged for speaking against AI Plus. This clause has already led to legal action against at least 10 other YouTube videos. That is a drastic response. So I decided it's time to call in the eagle.
But maybe I shouldn't be watching this. Maybe I shouldn't be watching this. Yeah, but I'm all for things being utilized and taken advantage of, because if it's already has the industry, it's fine. You're wanting to sell something cheap, sure. But the fact that the phones first came out and they were cheap, I think that's the first red flag, because they would, in order to actually start an industry in India, the first few that come out would have to be astronomically expensive, or you have enough backers to help you sustain afloat until you can recoup your losses. It would be an investment at that point. So you can keep the phone still a bit cheap, but as people get more and more invested and more into the phones, it just becomes more and more, if you're not Indian unless you're using this phone, like, that kind of thing. That's how Apple cornered the market on smartphones in the US, because you're a retard unless you use Apple products. That's why I refuse to ever touch an Apple product, because I hate that. I hate that kind of nonsense. I hate that hive mentality. So I use just an Android, but I've only had an Apple once and I hated it. But yeah, I mean, you could build it, but you'd have to build the company from scratch. And it seems like they just didn't want to do the due diligence, find the actual workers, pay the actual engineers, and everything to start from the ground up.
So could you clarify what exactly an ex parte case is?
Ex parte is where you are the only side going in front of the court. Only one side is presenting their case. And you can imagine, in an adversarial system that relies on both parties being there, that if you're the only one in the court, it's a whole lot easier to present your case than it is that the other side is contradicting the things that you are saying.
Right. That makes sense. But then, in what kinds of contexts are you expecting to see ex parte?
For example, a domestic violence restraining order often happen ex parte because there are presumably real safety risks if both parties were there. So that's an example of something where an ex parte procedure is used more often.
Yeah, that's what's confusing me. This isn't that at all. This is a tech review where the reviewers have been critical to the brand, but also the guy behind it.
In the context of seeking an order preventing the disclosure of tech news or a tech news related thing.
This is something that seems a little weird. Why would you go to Legal Eagle, who does like the law breakdowns on the YouTube sphere, when it's in India? And I'm guessing this YouTuber who's creating the channel is a British YouTuber. It's an Indian court case which is filed in India under strict regards in India. So India has the right to do whatever it wants, and he's talking to an American YouTube attorney to find out what the law is in India, why they're using they might have a different classification for the law they're filing under, because they're calling a company out for doing something, and maybe it fits there. It fits there. So it doesn't entirely work that you have basically a British YouTuber commenting on a phone created in India where people are getting silenced in India, and he's talking to an American law YouTuber about the laws in America and how they affect India. I mean, it's just not making sense to me. It's not making sense to me. I mean, yes, words have meaning, but at the same time, each nation views law differently. They go about law differently. So it's a little weird. It's a little weird.
That would be basically unheard of.
He explained that ex parte, at least in the US, would require you to show irreparable harm. And that if in this
At least in the US. I went on that entire tangent for him to clarify everything. At least in the US.
context, any damages created could be solved by just paying someone money, i.e. financial loss, then that wouldn't count as irreparable. But that's the US.
I do know that the laws are very different between the United States in particular and India. In the United States, you basically cannot be held liable for defamation if what you're saying is true. The laws in India are much more plaintiff-friendly, and they are much stricter, to the point where sometimes even saying something that is true can give rise to a defamation claim.
Okay, got it. All right, thank you very much, appreciate it. So, given that I'm not in India, I'm going to give you my opinion, which is allowed here. I think that if you own a company and people are criticizing that company and you, then they're entitled to that. If you disagree with them, I don't think you should be able to go for an emergency gag order like this. That doesn't mean you sit in silence. I think you should just make your own video, explain why, and that message will find the audience that it needs to. In fact, you know what?
So I think I'll be fine. This just might get banned in India. That's just what might happen. This might get banned in India, and maybe when I travel to India, I'll get served a notice. But other than that, I think I'll be fine.
That's exactly what Carl Pei does whenever people roast.
I want to ask, if you downloaded TikTok in the US and then come to India, what happens? I don't know. I've never downloaded TikTok. Yeah, I don't have
nothing
TikTok.
products.
That's the
And
best
I
way
rate
to
him
say
for
it. I downloaded it to try and use my username so no one could take it, and then I was just like, I don't want this app.
I feel like we've established how the product isn't as Indian as we've been led to believe, how the CEO has gone to an unprecedented
minutes.
extreme when called out for it. But before we take this all to the big man himself, I've been trying to figure out, because this is very important when you're assessing how guilty someone is, does this company deserve our benefit of the doubt? Yeah, it's a no from me, Chief. It's just interesting how on YouTube these phones were getting absolutely cooked, but on AI Plus's own website, every single phone seems to have a flawless 5-star review. And then you click into those reviews and you realize it's a 5-star review no matter what people are saying. Some people are literally just filling out support forms seemingly with questions like, where I buy now, can you please guide me? Yeah, that's a glowing 5-star review if I've ever seen one. And then you realize, oh wait, it doesn't even matter if they're actually saying it sucks. Like this comment here, it's a 5-star. A lot of the reviews on Flipkart are just as organic. The screen quality is great and the camera performs well. The display looks great and the camera is reliable. The display is sharp and the camera is solid. It's almost as if some of these reviews are generated. But no, surely not. Not from the company who has ended their official terms and conditions section with, let me know if you'd also like a downloadable version, a version for your Shopify website's policy page, or tailored clauses for international customers or B2B transactions. Oh, you guys starting to get the same picture that I am about this brand? Or how? Do you remember that borderline racist advert with the loan and the Chinese man? Does it feel just a little bit ironic that with an ad like that, this AI Plus site also reads, you, while providing your personal information over the platform, consent to us and other third parties like credit bureaus to contact you through SMS, instant messaging apps, call, and or email. And worse still, if we smack this same link into the Wayback Machine, it used to specifically spell out personal loans. Whoops. I could keep going. A lot of the marketing material appears not entirely original. They posted photos claiming to be taken on their phones that every photographer I have sent them to has confidently said is basically not possible. But ultimately I decided we have have enough questions now that we need to take them to the CEO himself. Now, I've actually called Madhav once already, but what he said was so confusing. It felt like he was constantly changing his mind as he was speaking. So I've taken everything he said, I've distilled it down to the key things that I think really matter in this case, and now it's time to lay it all out in front of him, to really properly, in one go, confront him. Right, let's do this.
Yeah, great setup. Huh?
You're getting the full BTS here. Yesterday, I think, the AI Plus website went down. Did that have something to do with our conversation?
Yeah, I'm removing everything and redoing it.
5
I put
stars.
Up a feedback. I put up about the special team hired.
Those are very, very positive 5-star reviews about wife, about friends. Yeah, very, very positives.
Website agency on the weekend.
Well, I noticed when the website was launched again, the reviews section was gone. I was happy to see that. So the website did suck, but at least he's taken the feedback and started actioning it pretty quickly between our first and second conversation. We were off to a good start. One of the main reasons your brand exists is you're trying to, build things in India from now. A part of it, from what I understand, is that you've also expressed a lot of concern about Chinese phones. What exactly makes these Chinese phones a risk in your mind?
Chinese phones are not a risk in my mind.
Okay.
Let's divide economy and consumers first. They are not risk to the consumers. I'm talking about the economy, wherein the revenues and the technology transfer, the technology know-how from last 10 years, intentionally or non-intentionally, has not been transferred to India.
Okay, but then this advert, it's implying very strongly that Chinese phone, not safe, AI plus. This advert is made for a consumer, right?
Yeah, there were 300 Chinese apps which were banned in India, and it was an app which was basically for small loans or for fintech loans, and there were a lot of suicide cases around it. So if you're talking about a particular ad, I'm just an 8-month-old brand. I would have made a lot of mistakes, and I admit to a lot of mistakes which I would have made it.
So would you say this advert is an example of a mistake?
I would not say that that's a complete mistake.
You stand by the ad?
Yeah.
You stand by it, yeah,
Right.
okay. So he says the ad is fine because it's based off a bunch of real Chinese apps that did cause people to lose money. But still, for more reasons than one, I don't think this is the kind of messaging that anyone should be doubling down on. Moving past that though, in our first interview, we asked Madhav about the 3 Chinese apps that the YouTubers found on their phones. Were they real? And he said,
Yes, they were. But that was not on the Indian version. That was on the global version for Nepal, for Indonesia, and for Sri Lanka and every other countries, which I'm
Well, yeah, because they're all on the phones when they come out. I mean, if they're all getting the phones from the same location, they're all gonna have the same apps on them.
testing.
so you're saying that no one who buys one of these phones in India will get any of these Sprocom apps?
No.
But I need to ask you that because I'm holding one of them, bought in India, and I have these apps. I feel like as soon as I revealed that I too was holding the phone, Madhav kind of pivoted.
Which version are you holding it? That is what I have to check. I'm again saying yes. I'm not saying no. This were probably the initial testing units, not at all possible.
So specifically, in a really concise way, what are you suggesting has happened here? Why do I still have these apps on my phone?
See, I just have to check the kernel source has been picked or no. I do not have the device with me. I do not know what exactly has happened unless I see the device.
What do you think has happened, given that I can guarantee you this phone has come out of the box, it's been booted up, and it's been connected to Wi-Fi?
See, I'm again telling you, I really need to check the software. And version 5, you are saying is a December 25 software, which is from some Sprocom,
Yep.
which was never a software which was ever there. That is the reason I have to check what has happened. Is it been tweaked?
But you're saying that, and you've told me this before as well, that launch devices don't have these Chinese apps on them. Is that right?
Yeah, all the current devices which have been launched, they do not have any Chinese apps.
And Pulse 2 as well, Nova 2.
I'm talking about Ultra, which I just recently launched.
What about the Pulse 2? Does that have Chinese apps?
No, should not have. 110% they should not have it.
Okay, so what would you say then if I say I've got mountains of evidence of your own customers on Flipkart who all show images of these apps on their phones, including
Yes.
reels, content from all over the place, YouTube tutorials?
See, that's what I'm trying to tell you, right? I'm not sure that, again, I have not gone through that content. What you're saying, what I said guarantees about Nova 2 and Nova Ultra. I definitely
I've not gone through everyone's personal phone individually, so I do not know. I cannot confirm or deny what you're saying is real. Very lawyer speak. I cannot confirm nor deny. I did not touch their phones. I have not seen their phones, so I do not know if what you're saying is true.
guaranteed that, right?
I want to show you something right now. So I didn't tell him this, but as well as the Pulse 2 and the Nova flip phone, I also have one of the Nova 2s that he's so insistent is completely Sprocom free. Yes, I hired someone on Fiverr to buy a lot of phones for me. But guess what? First time I booted it up, it had all 3 Chinese Sprocom apps installed. Now, there was an update, and sure enough, when I installed it, the apps did disappear. But him sitting there acting like I'm absolutely crazy for suggesting that these apps were on at least some of his phones at launch, when I'd seen them across like 30 different sources at this point, is not the problem that I thought I'd be having. Not to mention that even with those apps gone on my Nova Spro weather clock, I wonder what Spro stands for.
Can you just do me one favor? If you can just tell your person to buy a new device in India and open up and check it, because I also want to understand, is that very real? Yes, I'm more than willing because I also want to go through it. If I made a mistake, I'll admit it.
But do you understand why that's quite hard for me to get behind, given that this was the predominant message in the YouTube videos that have been forced to be taken down, right? Is that these Chinese apps exist. You're definitely aware of this situation. Why is it that now you're telling me, oh, if this is a problem, I'll look into it?
No, I was also telling the same thing to them. It was not that it was only about the Chinese apps. But at the same time, what phone software which you are telling me right now, that version was never existing, which you are telling me right now. It has never been existed. I've checked all the records. It has never been existed.
What is
He really needs to take that laptop off his lap because it's just shaking way too much. It's like me doing, oh, it's not even shaking that much. Oh my gosh. But again, I can understand the idea of wanting to have a homegrown, homemade, and India would be the perfect place for it. Let's be honest. India would be the perfect place because labor, cost of living is low. Labor, you don't have to pay people, depending on their expertise, like a lot, because cost of living is low. Cost of food is low. Like a lot of that stuff, it's good. It works. So as long as you keep it that way, it makes sense that you could manufacture something in India. But I think they just want to skip the buying the land, the factories, the engineers, the software engineers, the everything you need to create to start creating them there. So it's more like a drop ship. They probably have a drop ship location to where they order it all. It gets dropped at their factory. They package it and send it off from there. That's most likely what's going on. It works as a drop ship location.
What does it mean for software to have never existed before? I will spare you the full conversation here, but basically
India's
I
a
spent
perfect
15 full
location
minutes
to
trying to
actually
see if
do
I could
it.
get Madhav to admit that just something is wrong here that needs internal investigation. It's blatantly obvious to me. But he just kept insisting that the software on my phone didn't exist. And I still don't understand what that means. Of course it exists. I'm stuck on it. Now, whether or not this is the reason for the lack of updates, this absurd inconsistency between what he seems to think is on the phones versus what actually is, does line up very well with something that the industry insider warned us about.
Because the biggest issue is also on the quality control. They will be okay with a certain level of defects. When you handle second-hand components, when you kind of realize that one component or one phone has a defect, you cannot trace the initial batch to understand where the problem is from and how you can fix it.
I myself have bought one of these phones from Flipkart to test it, and I'm not seeing any kind of software update. They're telling us that there should be some sort of March software update. I've only got December. Could this lack of quality control be the reason that some people are not getting the software update, which should get rid of these Chinese apps?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, 100%.
Oh, also, do you know how Madhav asked me to buy another device to check? Well, I did. I bought 2 more on his request. I asked our Fiverr contact to get one from Flipkart and one from Amazon in India. And would you believe it? Even those phones, both of them, bought in India, set up in India, had all the Chinese apps still there, and no update available. So the last thing I'm going to say about this Chinese app situation is either Madhav is incredibly, alarmingly unaware of the state of his own devices, or he's gaslighting me. And I don't know which one is worse. Anyway, in the last call, I also brought up the topic of bloatware. Now, one of the main selling points of this phone, you talked about it in your podcast quite a bit, is you're trying to kind of erase bloatware.
हमने इतना लाइट रखा हुआ है कि सब bloatware free है.
When you go into the game space, you do see a bunch of preloaded games. And I wanted to
It's
ask...
not that final version, my friend. I don't think so. It's there in the final version anymore. It's not there. During December, we were testing multiple hundreds of softwares and games on a particular device. You will see some bloatware free only as of now, right?
Mhm.
And we like to keep that way itself. There's no gaming app. There's no nothing such.
You said to me, and tell me if I'm understanding this right, that on launch software, all the bloatware is gone.
Yeah, everything has gone out.
It's worth mentioning to you that I have also found, all these Flipkart customers again, they also have GameSpace, and this is on the 2nd generation phone.
Buddy, I'm again telling you, which version is it? I want you to pick up a new version. You've been speaking again and again repetitive.
It's repetitive because I don't understand. How can he keep denying something that's so obviously there? GameSpace, including all the bloatware games, exist on my Pulse 2 phone. It exists on other people's YouTube videos. It even exists on my Nova 2 phone, which has had the latest update. Anyways, we weren't making progress here, so I decided to move on. In our first call, Madhav also gave a very confusing answer as to what it means for his products to be made in India. If everything is expertly imagined in India,
This product is not just made in India, it's confidently imagined.
and yet you're saying you're an ODM, then is this not imagined in China originally? The Pulse one was imagined in China, just to be clear. Okay.
Yeah. And basically because that's where I learned from it.
On the last call, you talked about how the Pulse one was imagined in China and that you learned from it. Is that right?
I did not say that. What did I say then? That Pulse one is a basic phone. You do not need to design on it because there are ready-made solutions around it for the basic 4G and the basic 5G phones. So for me to imagine over there or imagine over here is one and the same thing.
I guess I just want you to understand that the reason there is so much scrutiny in this case is just because of how much you leaned into it in that launch event.
I think going forward from the next launch event, I think I'll be more specific on what exactly, which components are buying from which country, which no brand is.
It's easy. You go forward, you talk to your constituents, and you basically say, I need funding in order to build a facility because none of these made in India phones have actually been made in India. They've all been made in China, mailed to my dropship facility in India, repackaged and sent to your front door or sent to the storefronts. So with your aid, we can actually start hiring those who are capable to manufacture our own first of a one-of-a-kind Indian 100% homemade phone. Nationally made phone. That's what you do. That's what you do. Of course, by that point in time, everyone would have lost all trust, and they'll just wait for the next con artist to come in and sell them another lie.
I want you to buy my flip phone also from India and see specifically from day one. I have given credits to ZTE on the boxes
All right, let's talk about ZTE, shall we? So I had asked Madhav about how the flip phone resembles a ZTE on our last call, and he confirmed.
It is from ZTE only.
This is still pitched as an AI Plus branded phone. You've got your own name for it, you've got your own branding for it. If I was an AI Plus fan because of, what I've learned about the company, I would think, oh great, a phone that's keeping my data in India.
I never deceived AI Plus users by saying that this is something which I've designed in India. This I very categorically said that this is the phone which also has a ZTE label on the phone box.
He thinks it's enough that the thing has ZTE on the box. I disagree, since this tiny footnote is the only reference to ZTE on the box, and having sat through the entire launch event, I can confirm that the name ZTE was not mentioned once during it. But now's where I think I started to really push his buttons. Okay, so near the end now, but I just want to ask you, this AI power company that we talked about last time, when did you start working with them?
So I would say it would be 2022 end or 2023 early where I started interacting with them for buying a brand name. AI Power is a good name to have it.
What I want to clarify then is, with Wearbuds, for example, did they make the product, did you make the product, or was it co-developed?
It was co-developed together.
Would you still count that as designed in India if you're saying you've co-developed it with a company where...
Already, I filed a patent for it.
That's okay, you can have the patent, I believe that, but it's just, the co-founders of this company are Chinese, the HQ is in...
I'm again telling you, I have the patent not only in India, but I have a patent in about 60 countries for that. So I have the patent with me for the technology. And I invested in the technology, and I know that, basically I was able to buy the patent for it.
Now, the reason I'm pushing so hard is what he's saying doesn't make any sense to me. He's told us that he started working with this company in 2022, 2023, right? There are hundreds of pieces of content showing that Wearbuds as a brand and series of products existed years before that. So is it possible that Madhav had some input into the design of this latest generation of Wearbuds? Perhaps. But do I think it's fair for him to then claim that his product was
Designed in India.
No. No, I don't. The way I see it, this is a bit like if I went into Apple. They've already been making iPhones for 20 years, but just because I potentially suggested some things for the iPhone 18, I call the iPhone 18 designed by Aaron. But now it was time to bring up the elephant in the room. When I asked him before, why did he feel like it was right to order those YouTube videos down, he said...
They put up a video, so we reached out to them. That can we resolve your queries? We reached out to them, but they did not respond to it. If you are not able to hear my point, let me at least get an injunction. We just said that please put our viewpoint also. You can put your videos back up along with a follow-up video that this is what the brand is also saying. We're open for it.
And as well as this idea of needing to hear the brand out first, he also kept referring to how the YouTuber's videos contained unverified claims.
It was based on unverified claims, having no third-party validation or any audit validation. See, we have just launched
No freedom of speech. The companies, the ones with the wallets, they're the ones in charge.
And I would invest in maybe more than $20 to $30 million to bring that particular phone. And if after investing a huge amount of money to bring two devices back without putting even my side of the story, I would have been completely jeopardized my entire sales and the launch.
Okay, so I can understand the feeling of investing tons of money into your next big venture. I can understand that.
But yeah, I mean, and you can't be afraid of criticism. So like me, I've always hated Apple. It's not going to stop people from buying Apple. Like those YouTubers who are creating videos like warning people not to purchase them because it seems a little shady. Like they probably would prefer a smarter phone than a Go phone. Because what he's creating, he's literally purchasing a Go phone. There's like a difference between a smartphone and a Go phone. And he's like in the US. So he's basically creating Go phones instead of actual smartphones. Smartphones are normally like those high-end, very fast performance, like the top of the line memory chips, top of the line like core. What? Oh my gosh, I'm doing a brain fart. Like a top of the line brains, I'll just say that. But it seems like what he's basically getting is like Go phones that he's purchasing from China, which that's normally what Go phones are. They're the cheap ones that are quickly manufactured. Someone puts a label on the back and sends it out, and he's just selling them as phones in India. And I'm pretty sure those tech reviewers don't want a flimsy Go phone. They want a powerful smartphone. So they're going to just let people know. It's just like, okay, this is a Go phone. It's not that great. It seems a little shady. I myself would prefer a smartphone. And that's probably what they were doing, but they shut it down because in the end, everyone has preferences and he doesn't want any sort of criticism that calls out his lies publicly out there. It has nothing to do with doing a retraction. It has nothing to, it's just hiding the story. It's hiding the story.
The pain of people criticizing it, and then the panic that you might feel if they don't respond to you when you reach out. But what I don't understand is this idea that if they're not responding, let me at least get an injunction, as if that's just a normal thing to do when people don't say what you want. Because you've got to remember, there's a power dynamic here. This company is worth tens of millions of dollars. They can sue YouTubers if they want and create this dystopian situation where only their side of the story is the allowed truth. I've seen firsthand the emotional turmoil that this has caused people. And so what creator, especially the smaller ones, are going to risk everything to challenge a company like this if court orders become the precedent? That's just not on. The freedom for reviews to be authentic without fear is crucial. Thankfully, and I have no idea if this is in response to how hard I pushed back or something completely unrelated, between our first call and our second, Madhav seemed to have had a change of heart.
I was thinking over this weekend, I don't think so that probably I should have been so harsh in putting up a case. It's a community, which I think I should respect even more. I did something in Jiffy, I think I should have not done it. And probably I think I'm even willing to, just take it back.
Do you feel like it is reasonable to expect any YouTuber, any journalist to have a third-party audit and to like approach you first before pointing out issues on your devices?
I will not say that, they should approach me first.
Okay.
But if I'm trying to approach them, at least be responsive to it. I'm willing to see and improve and learn from it.
Okay.
But being non-responsive made me more, I would say, in a Jiffy situation. But the fight was not with any of the YouTubers. The fight was with an agency who was in between, trying to manipulate words, creating more misunderstandings between brand and YouTubers.
So, for the record, you don't agree that companies should take down or behave in the way that you did?
Yeah, I agree. I completely on record that I agree that I think I did something in haste, which I think probably I should not have done it, against the creators. I'm again saying my fight is against the agencies.
What he means by agencies, by the way, is the agencies that manage YouTubers, the ones that companies like AI Plus would contact, presumably to arrange brand deals with creators. So, I'm really glad that he said that he's made a mistake and he's likely going to try and reverse it, but has he convinced me that he genuinely sees the error in his ways?
No.
No, he hasn't. This feels a lot more like he's seen the error of what it means to get on the wrong side of every YouTuber ever, which is, I'm guessing, why he's now deflecting to blaming the agencies. At this point, he's made crystal clear, with a follow-up third phone call and message to clarify. But what's just come to light makes this feel, to me at least, like far too little too late, because TechWiser just had their first hearing in court. This is the first time they got to present their side of the story, and they claim that the only reason Madhav was able to get this ex-parte order is by using tricks. So remember I said that one of the defendants named was John Doe? Well, turns out that Madhav named John Doe as the main defendant. What that means is, while you usually have to serve notice to a defendant so they have a chance to defend themselves, by making the main defendant not a real person, the court accepted that you can't warn them in advance.
So you put John Doe there only so as to obviate the need and to ensure that nobody appears on day one to defend what they've done.
And then on top of that, to cover themselves, even when they did contact TechWiser with a legal order, they sent it to an email address that TechWiser says doesn't exist. Even though AI Plus has TechWiser's real email and has used it multiple times before to contact them, by sending the court order to this supposedly fake email where they knew TechWiser wouldn't see it, it meant that the YouTuber wouldn't know about the court case until it was too late.
He knows who I am. He knows all details. He knows my reputation and my credibility, but strangely can't find my email ID, to which he just corresponded 2 days before he filed the suit.
And in doing all this, AI Plus, in a way, have created their ideal outcome. They've already successfully suppressed their negative coverage for weeks, so it almost doesn't matter if they lose the case when it ends in August or later and the videos come back online.
Because by then, the content would have been off in this critical juncture, coinciding with the launch of their product.
So now, with that context, Madhav now telling me that he wants to rescind his court order doesn't really mean anything. And so, upon hearing this and seeing the evidence, the judge has decided that Madhav has to be summoned into court to answer for himself.
Who is the plaintiff in this?
Mr. Madhav Seth, I believe, has signed for the plaintiff's
Please have him here after tomorrow. We need some answers from him. But this kind of a thing, we are not going to permit. Let nobody be under this impression that they can pull wool over our eyes. We want to dispel this notion.
Despite Madhav's noble words to me, he failed to show up in court, meaning that the next hearing has been pushed to the first week of August. The YouTuber's videos are still down, while new marketing campaigns to promote AI Plus products are still coming out. The final decision awaits, but I know where I sit. And by the way, I think there's a decent chance that AI Plus or someone tries to geolock this video to block it in India. If that happens, use a VPN, like Surfshark, our sponsor, get around it and just make sure this message is heard. Link below for...
Yeah. Am I blocked? Am I blocked? Oh, that is crazy though. That is crazy how people will. The same thing happens in the Silicon Valley. There was that one lady who was trying to act like Steve Jobs, who was talking like this, darkening her voice so that way she was more well respected, talking about how she's discovered how with one drop of blood they can find out any kind of ailment you're going through. I forgot her name. But yeah, she received millions upon millions upon millions of backing for something that didn't exist. Something that existed only in her head. Something that she just thought would be a nice idea if it was that easy to just utilize a blood drop to find out what you needed. And she made a ton of money. She made a ton of money. And but of course now I think she's been she's probably still in sentencing. I don't know how long that takes. I can't remember. But the last thing I heard, like, she was detained and like there's a full blown investigation, trial and everything. But yeah, I mean, she made a lot of money, but she ruined her life. She ruined her own life. And it's just crazy. But yeah, they do it to themselves. They always do it to themselves. But yeah, it's always those people who try to promise something. But the funny thing is, I think in India, it makes sense when you hear a promise like that because it seems so simple. It seems like the perfect location. The perfect location, to have the perfect amount of labor, the perfect, like, just have everything done. But they just don't do it. They just don't do it. That's not like some retard selling a non-existent blood test to find out what's going on. No, it sounds like like even me, I'm like, that does make sense. It makes sense. You just have to hire the people capable. You have to hire the people to design it and everything. But oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And then he just purchased it from China and sells it in India. It's a drop shop. The place he was just a drop shop. Oh my gosh. In one country, criticizing against defamation itself calls for application of blasphemy law. I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean. But yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Sheesh. I mean, it's enjoyable, but at the same time, it's rather sad because it's the people with money always are the ones with power. The people with the huge backing are the ones that have the say and can silence those that have been critical of things.
You guys got a video? So bad.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Wait like that.